Most visible part of the new WP Full Picture 9.0 is the new design and some changes to the user interface. In this video I'll tell you what has changed and where to find some options that normally were in different places than they are in 9.0. Okay, so let's start from the top. Here we have a totally new menu with some links to documentation, with setup mode that has already been talked about in a previous video. Setup mode is a new feature for web developers that they can use to test if the tracking configuration and the consent banner configuration works as expected. And finally we have an account link. In the free version you'll have here a button asking you to get the pro version. Now let's talk about the modules themselves. First, in the privacy section we no longer have two modules with Tracking Tools Manager and iframes Manager that which are now a part of the consent banner, because it simply makes more sense, as you'll see in a moment. However, the records of consent option has been moved to a separate module here, and in the extensions we no longer have custom metadata tracking, which has been now moved into a new menu item, shared tracking settings. Now let's go maybe from the top and talk about the menu items here and where to find some specific options. First, general settings, they are here just like before, but a few things has changed. First of all, in the first page we have setup mode. Then we have tracking exclusions, so just like before. We have a new option to add meta tags to the HTML of your pages to verify the ownership of your website. This feature has been requested multiple times by many people, and so it is now here. Next we have the performance tab, just like before, backups, just like before, other settings, this is also nothing new, and FP info shortcode, which previously was a separate module. However, now it has been included into general settings because it simply doesn't have very many fields, and it makes more sense to keep it like that rather than a separate module. Now, in the integration sections, you'll see that there is a new menu item here, Google Tag. And this menu item is actually not connected to any specific module. Like when we go to the modules list, here you won't see even Google Tag. Why is that? The thing is that Google Tag, it contains settings that are common to both Google Ads and Google Analytics, and in the near future or also to Google Tag Manager. So if there is an option that applies to both or to all three of them, then you will find it in the Google Tag, which is just a way simpler way of managing things from the technical standpoint even. All right. Now, here at the bottom you'll find a new menu item that's called Shared Tracking Settings. It will show up when you add any integration to your to the enabled list. And Shared Tracking Settings, well, it contains shared tracking settings, yes, so settings that are common to all these modules. Like, for example, here we have a section extra tracking functions that contains, for example, an option to enable metadata tracking, use page labels for tracking, allow tracking IDs, things like that. We have tracking improvements that also apply to all or to most of these tools. Well, sometimes there are some exceptions, and default settings, so just like it was before. Now, the biggest changes for some of you may be in the consent banner, because now the consent banner is much less verbose. It does not contain as much text as it used to. Now it only has the most important things, and all the other ones were moved to sections here that make simply more sense. So in the main settings of consent banner, you will simply have a choice of mode, how it should work, and everything else will happen automatically. Now, control tracking tools and control iframes are what used to be tracking tools manager and iframes manager in the past. Why are they here? They are here because they let the consent banner control tracking tools that are not installed with WP Full Picture. So it makes sense to keep it in one bag here. But they basically work just like before, with one exception, that you have just like this extra toggle here and some more explanation. Now, we have records of consent module that has been moved from the consent banner module. However, now it contains one new very important option that many of you requested, is saving proofs of consent, not in a cloud database, but we send them to your email account along with other information like the configuration of tracking tools and a copy of privacy policy. So now you have two options. You can save your consents in the cloud and in your email account. There are some differences between these two options. You can learn about them just by clicking this button here or this link. Finally, we have GDPR setup info, which has been redesigned, and all the information that you find here has been redone, shortened, and some of the less important information is now removed. Apart from that, we have very tiny differences in the WooCommerce tracking. We have a new section that is called privacy, and here we have an option to manage order attribution script in WooCommerce by the consent banner. Next, we have analytics dashboard, which is actually a renamed module, reports and statistics. And these are all the changes in the UI and placement of some settings in WP Full Picture 9.0. Thank you.